Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a good weekend. Happy Sunday. I'm going to go ahead and share this live. I'm just sharing. Okay. So how's everyone doing today? Everyone having a good weekend? Awesome. Okay. So today I'm going to be talking about something that I feel like everyone needs a good reminder, and it's a good practice to do every once in a while at least, which is just gratitude, right? So practicing gratitude that helps us grow as a whole, but then also reminds us to stay strong during those like tough moments, right? Because sometimes when we're going through tough times or tough moments in our lives, we tend to forget about the things that are going well, right? The things that we should be grateful for, right? So that could be your family, that could be your home, that could be your car, that could be your job, right? Sometimes those things can be a little bit annoying, right? But of course, there's always something positive that you can take out of it. Hey, Camila, how are you? Tonight I'm going to be talking about gratitude. It's something that I really wanted to talk about this month specifically because it was something that I needed to remind myself of, right? So basically, I'm going to break it up into three different parts. Part one is about why gratitude matters in the first place. Part two, I'm going to be talking a little bit about gratitude as a tool, something that you can use to help yourself grow. And then for part three, I'm going to be talking about the gratitude reset practice. So it's just a 3-step process that you could do to kind of feel yourself with gratitude again. How have you been, Camila? It's good to see you over here. So by the way, I'm live on TikTok on my computer, and then on my phone I'm live on YouTube. So y'all might see me kind of going back and forth. Oh no, you said a mess? Why? We gotta hang out too. We gotta schedule something with Tanishka too. All three of us. Hi, Italy. Hi, Belu. Hi, Chichi. Thank you. I know, Camila. I was actually there at her party because her fiance planned everything. It was a surprise, and then he reached out to me to like go celebrate with them at their house afterwards. So it was really cool because I got to kind of like congratulate them right after it happened. So it was really nice. Yeah, but me and her have been talking about like going to brunch with you and stuff. Hi, Jose. Hi, Luigi. Thank you guys for coming. Yeah, I'm so happy for her too, and he's awesome. Yes, we gotta schedule it. Okay, so today, hey Nika, welcome. Today I'm gonna be talking all about gratitude. And I know it's kind of weird. Well, not weird, but it sounds kind of cheesy because Thanksgiving is coming pretty soon. But actually, this topic was brought up during my recent workshop that I finished. So, we talked about last week, we talked about reflection and how being able to take a step back and reflecting on your life, on your decisions, it kind of gives you a little bit of power and control. And then now I want to talk about gratitude. And the reason why gratitude I feel like is such a big part is because when we go through these tough times, when we go through those moments where, sometimes we're so focused on the problem that we don't notice the things that are going well around us. So I just wanted to take some time today to just remind us that, yes, even though things can be tough, things can be hard, there's still always going to be something to be grateful for, whether that's your family, your car, whether that's your home, whether that's your kids, whether that's whatever is going good, right? Okay. So I want to ask you guys a question. Have you guys ever felt like no matter how much you accomplish or what you do, it just doesn't feel like it's enough? Go ahead and comment a yellow heart if you've ever felt like that. Have you ever felt like no matter what you accomplish or what you do, it just doesn't feel like it's enough? Yellow heart. Comment a yellow heart if you feel that. Nico. Yup. Y'all pretend this is a yellow heart because I felt it. Yes. I love how there's levels to the yellow heart. We have the 3, we have the 1, and then we have 5. I love that. Mine would be like 5 as well. So again, gratitude doesn't just make you feel good. It helps you see the progress that you've been overlooking, right? So, again, I'm going to break this up into 3 parts, and we're going to start with part 1, which is just sharing a little bit about why gratitude matters so much. And YouTube, if y'all want to share anything, let me know. I know I've been looking a lot at TikTok, but I promise I'm paying y'all attention too. So again, gratitude matters. Gratitude isn't just like this feel-good idea that we have in our minds. It's something that can literally shift the way that our mind sees our life, the world. It really has power. So when you're stuck in that like stress or overthinking, sometimes your brain automatically focuses on what's going wrong or what's missing or what could go badly, right? And that's basically just like our survival instinct. It's not necessarily like a personal thing, like something's wrong with you. No, that's like our normal survival instinct that we go through sometimes because we're so busy, right? Life is so quick and so fast and so busy that we become these like almost these robots, right? To our how do you say, our routines. So gratitude interrupts that cycle. It interrupts that like survival instinct mode, right? So it moves your internal lens from lack to truth and then to abundance, right? So instead of saying to yourself, I'm not doing enough, it can become something like, I'm actually growing, I'm learning, showing up, even in the small ways. Any questions so far? Y'all feel free to stop me if you have any questions or if you want to make a comment, okay? Welcome, Isaac. Thank you for joining. Okay. So again, gratitude is something that can be very powerful once we kind of practice. Nika said, yes, so true, Karina. Love how you've reframed that mentality. Exactly. And honestly, that's 9 times out of 10, that's all it takes. It's a reframe, right? It's something where we recognize, oh, snap, like maybe the way that I thought about this is actually hurting me versus helping me, right? Hey, Joby, thank you guys for coming. And thank you guys so much for liking and sharing the live. I appreciate that. So again, your brain is naturally wired to pay more attention to problems, right? Isn't that lovely? Oh, thank you, Joby. Yeah, my nails. Thanks, guys. Yeah. If you were closer, I would send you her Instagram. But she's awesome. Sorry, I digress. So again, your brain is naturally wired to pay more attention to problems, right? It's just lovely and it's amazing. Oh yeah, thank you, Jovi. I didn't know you followed her. That's great. Thank you for that. She'll love that. But yeah, so we pay more attention to those problems, and a lot of times psychologists call this like a negative bias, right? But gratitude is something that we can put into practice that kind of reframes like your thought process and your focus. So instead of like, for example, sometimes if you wake up in the morning and your day starts out rough, you're going to notice every annoying thing that could happen on your way to work. So for example, for me, I've seen this for myself. I'll start driving, I'll wake up and I'll stub my toe on the side of the bed. Hi, Jacker. Thank you for joining on YouTube. So I'll stub my toe when I woke up, and now I'm mad because my toe hurts, right? So then my kids are running late. So now, okay, a second thing is happening. And then now when I get to the daycare, the door don't want to open. And then now I get every single red light on my way to work. So it's almost like this consecutive thing. I start to notice all the annoying and negative things that are happening versus on the days where I wake up and I feel good and I put my music on and I'm like vibing out, and then I drop my kids off. I have good music in the car. I don't even notice what color the lights are on my way to work. I get to work and I'm pumped, right? So it's like, it's such a different energy. Like when you focus on the things that are really annoying or the things that are very tough, right? So again, when we pay attention or we pay more attention to the problems and not necessarily giving attention to the things that we're grateful for, then it tends to like reframe our focus to only be on the bad, right? So it doesn't pretend everything is perfect. I'm not asking like, oh, well, gratitude is going to fix all your problems, or gratitude is going to make everything perfect. It doesn't erase challenges. It doesn't make you ignore reality, because that's not what I'm saying. It's more about giving you clarity and grounding while you face those problems and your reality, right? Instead of drowning in that. Joey said that is so true. Naturally navigate to problems. Yeah, exactly. So when you practice gratitude consistently, you start noticing things that you used to skip over. So, for example, like a little small win. So, let's say that my kids were ready early in the morning. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't have to raise my voice and tell you to hurry up. Right? Like that's a small win, but you don't really stop and smell the roses for that, you know? Sometimes you'll start noticing things like effort that you usually ignore. So when you're putting in effort, you start to tap yourself on the shoulder like, oh, I did that. Jovi said, shifting your perspective is important because if you focus on negativity, that impacts on silent ways. Exactly. And then it becomes like a stacking issue too. Cause like you'll start like focusing on the negative, and then next thing you know, you're focusing on another negative and then another negative, and next thing you know, you got this like mountain of issues that you can't get out of your head. Nika said, so true, Jovi. Every time I pay a bill, I show gratitude with a nice gratitude prayer. Ooh, I like that, Nika, because I have a bad relationship with my bills. Okay? I don't like them. But that's such a good point, because if you didn't have a home, you wouldn't have bills. If you didn't have a car, you wouldn't have to pay for it. Right? So that's so true. I love that. Okay. Again, when you practice consistently, you start to notice progress that you weren't giving yourself credit for. So maybe before you used to work out twice a week and now you're doing it 4 times a week. And maybe because you're so busy and you've been so focused on the grind, you didn't even notice that you stepped up your game, right? So you don't like acknowledge yourself for that. And then again, moments of joy that you normally just rush right past. So maybe it was I keep thinking about kids. So for me, a moment of joy is like picking up my son. My son's from daycare and they come and hug me, right? That's like a little moment of joy. Or like sitting down and watching a show with them. Or getting a goal crossed off, right? Even if it's small. Or getting a chore done, right? Jovi said getting in the bed and reading a book. Yup. So it's like those small moments of joy that sometimes we don't even notice. And this starts teaching your brain to stop skipping the good and obsessing over the bad. So again, this teaches your brain to stop skipping the good and obsessing over the bad. So if gratitude changes how you see yourself, we're going to talk a little bit about how you can use it to actually grow. And that is part 2. But before I move on to part 2, I'm curious if there's anything that comes to your mind that you can feel grateful for this week. Even if it's something small. It could be a small win, an effort that you usually ignore, progress that you weren't giving yourself credit for, or moments of joy that you usually kind of run past. How are you guys doing on YouTube? Nika said, I engage more than usual on my business Facebook. Ooh, I like that. I think I saw that too, actually. Love that. Yeah, because you have a big following on Facebook too. A small win, yup. No, I got you. I'm gonna do the little jazz clap. Anybody else? Okay. Period. Okay, so part 2 is all about using gratitude as a tool. So again, gratitude isn't just a reflection. It's almost like data, right? So if we're keeping track, this is like my science brain coming through. But sometimes you have to keep tabs, right? You have to keep that data. Now, I'm not saying you need to create a spreadsheet, Excel sheet, nothing crazy like that. It could literally be just in your mind, right? Just creating that like space in your brain to remember these are some good things that I have done. Hey, Sexy Mexicana. Thank you for joining. So again, gratitude reveals patterns that you can't see when you're overwhelmed, right? So maybe you think you're not moving forward, or when you look back, you notice things that maybe you should have been grateful for, but you weren't. So again, you start thinking about like you could have handled something better than you would have before, or you kept showing up even when motivation was low. So sometimes we start to notice that you are handling things a little bit differently once you start like noticing your gratitude and calling it out. Thank you, Cam. So I'm just going to share a few things that maybe you could be grateful for, like, or something that if you practice gratitude, you'll start to notice things that you could be grateful for, right? So something as little as handling something a little bit better than you would have before. Nika said, you're so right. When we are intentional with our gratitude, everything changes. Exactly. Or you kept showing up even when your motivation was low. You're becoming stronger. You're becoming more improved, almost like an improved version of yourself, right? So even when your mind says otherwise, you're like, nah, I'm doing it. Okay. And then again, gratitude also builds emotional resilience. And we've talked about this in the past, how resilience is like a really, really good tool for us, right? When we're losing motivation or when we're feeling down, we can lean on resilience and we can lean on those tools that we have, right? So all of these things come together, right? So again, gratitude helps you build that emotional resilience. It trains your brain to look for strength, not just the struggle. So again, gratitude helps us see things outside of our struggle, but then it also reminds us of our strength, right? Because let's say that yes, I have gratitude for my family, I have gratitude for my car, I have gratitude for my home, gratitude, there's so many things I could say right now. But then when you look at it from an emotional standpoint, I'm grateful for my strength, right? I'm grateful for my resilience. So there's so many more aspects to gratitude and what you could be grateful for outside of just like physical things, right? And it could be attributes too, like attributes that you have that you're grateful for. Hi, Celine. Thank you for joining. So again, gratitude trains your brain to look for strength, not just the struggle. And so when things get heavy, you don't have to like collapse or fall apart. You just tend to bend, you tend to adapt instead of just breaking down completely. And you're able to keep going. So the powerful part is that the more that you acknowledge what's working, the easier it tends to become to be like more consistent, because you stop feeling like you're failing or falling apart all the time, right? So a grateful mind tends to help you move forward versus like a stressed out mind kind of shuts you down, right? Nika said, gratitude trains our brain to look for strength. I love that. Yeah, exactly. And thank you guys. I'm sorry that my eyes are going crazy, but I got YouTube on this side. And sometimes the comments on YouTube are crazy. But anyways, so let me see, where was I? Sorry, let me skip on this comment here that I just saw on YouTube. It's like some crazy peeps, bro. Okay. I don't know if y'all ever gone live on YouTube, but sometimes it's crazy over there. Okay. So, what is one thing that you feel you need to work on as far as getting yourself to that gratitude stage? Like, what's blocking you from getting to that place where you feel that gratitude? Is it something that you have to work hard for? Is it something that just feels weird to you to like try to focus on those things? Like, what is one thing you think that is kind of blocking you from that? And if you don't have any blockages from that, share that too. Thank you guys so much for the likes and for the shares. I appreciate it. Hi, Taylor. Thank you for joining. For me, sometimes I feel like I get blocked in focusing on like the positive sometimes when I feel overwhelmed. So those times where I feel like I have too many tasks, or I feel overwhelmed, or like things are coming from different angles, like that's when I feel like I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then I like forget all about like gratitude, right? Nika said, I'm always looking for things to be grateful for. I used to say, why is this happening to me? I started shifting my mentality, saying, what is this teaching me? Ooh, clock it. I love that. I love that. That's really good, Nika. I'm going to start using that. Because I will say that's like my, how do you say, like my Achilles heel, right? Like, yeah. When I get overwhelmed, that's when I'm like, I have to remind myself to find something to like be grateful for, or find something that I can have gratitude for. Nika said, yes, use it. I try to live by it. I love that. Because it's so important, because it really does help you. Like when you're in that space where you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, you know, a lot of things are going on at once, whatever it is, when you find one thing that you can focus on that you're grateful for, or one thing that's going well, it really does help you get through that tough part. So with that being said, I'm going to share a small gratitude reset practice that I really recommend. And I would recommend that you try it this week if you can. Nika said, yes, it's so important, especially when we're feeling stressed out. As humans, we will go through that. Yeah, it's part of our lesson here on Earth, I guess. But I have a small gratitude reset practice that you can do when you have those times where you're feeling really overwhelmed, or when you're trying to learn how to practice that gratitude, right? So a simple weekly practice that you can do, you can start today if you want. You don't need a journal. No perfect routine is needed. So number one is to notice, right? So each morning you can name one thing that you're grateful for. And again, this is something that you could do in your mind, or this is something that you could do. Oh, Octavia? Hey. Sorry, she just joined on YouTube. I was so confused because I was waiting for TikTok to open. Aww. It didn't open for you? I got Nika, Jovi, some of my family too on the other side. I have a few people on right now, which is cool. Okay, sorry. I digress. Okay, so number one is to notice. Each morning you name one thing that you're grateful for. Again, it doesn't need to be anything deep. You know, it could be your coffee, because I know I'm grateful for coffee in the morning. The sunlight through your window, right? It could be a text from a friend. It could be the fact that you woke up in the first place, right? Small is perfect. It's a great place to start because it doesn't give you any oh, cool. Oh, that's because the link that I shared is the YouTube one. That makes sense. Because YouTube is on my phone versus TikTok, I have it on my computer. So I didn't know how to share from my desktop. So that makes sense. You're good, Octavia. The link that I shared is the YouTube one. Okay. So again, number one, notice. It doesn't need to be anything deep. It could be something very small. So for me specifically, one thing that I love is when the sun starts peaking and you see like the pretty blue sky with like the orange and the pinks. So a lot of times I'll focus on that when I'm like headed to work. But anyways, coffee is a great one too. But yeah, then number two is to feel, right? So, Octavia, just to catch you up, I'm talking about the gratitude reset practice. Number one is to notice something each morning that you could be grateful for. Number two is to feel it. So right after you notice that one thing that you're grateful for, I want you to pause for at least one intentional breath. And that could just be a 3 seconds in deep and let it out, right? Just an intentional breath, something that you can actually like let that gratitude land so you could feel it in your body and not just your mind. And that's when it starts rewiring your brain, right? So each day that you do this, not only are you thinking of what you're grateful for or you're saying it, but you're also pausing physically. So you're tying this thing that you're grateful for, and now you're tying it to your body, right? So now your body's communicating with your mind. So now mentally you're involved, emotionally you're involved, and physically you're involved. And that's what you want. You want everything to connect. So once you take in that intentional breath and you notice what you're grateful for, you feeling what you're grateful for, this is when we do the reframe. So when you feel overwhelmed or discouraged, I want you to ask, where's the good right now? Similar to what Nika was saying. Where is the good right now? What is still true? What is still supportive? What is still anchoring me? This isn't toxic positivity, because I know sometimes people be a little toxic, trying to be like, oh no, everything's fine. But it's balanced awareness. So you're not ignoring the hard stuff. That's not the point of this practice. You're just reminding yourself that the hard stuff isn't the whole thing. It's not the whole story, right? It's only part of your story. So when your mind starts to shift, your choices start to shift too. Thank you, Octavia. I'm catching up on what y'all are saying. Hold on. She's reading a book where Octavia and Anthony are in love. Where's the good right now? Right, this isn't that twin. Yeah. So, how do you guys feel about this gratitude reset practice? Is this something that you feel is doable? Is this something that feels like a little overwhelming? Feel free to share in the comments. Okay, awesome. Octavia said, I love showing gratitude, so I'm always into it. Nika said this so helpful. Awesome. I'm glad. Because it's something that I'm actually putting into practice as well. Because I do notice, like I shared earlier, when I do get overwhelmed, sometimes these things go out the window, right? But that's when you need it the most. So I'm like, girl, you got to remind yourself, okay? Yeah. Okay. So, like I always do, I always like to leave you guys with homework or some type of challenge or some type of mini work. I don't know. I just like the word homework. I'm sorry, y'all. Nika said, exactly. It's hard to notice when we're overwhelmed. Yeah. You don't notice that you're overwhelmed until all you want to do is sleep, or till you start having like a bad attitude sometimes for no reason. I'm like, okay, yeah, you need to relax. So very similar to my reset, what I just shared with you guys, how I was sharing that I have a gratitude reset practice, things like that. I kind of want you to attempt this for this week as your homework or as your weekly challenge, just a 7-day gratitude reset where you, this one though, I kind of do want you to write it down, especially if you're new to the gratitude practice. I think it'll help hold you accountable, and I think it will actually help you at the end of the week kind of see everything that you've jotted down. So it's very simple on your notes app on your phone or on a piece of paper. Just every day, add one line of gratitude to your notes every day. Whether it's a sentence, a word, a thing, whatever you want to do, just at least one thing that you're grateful for each day. And I suggest that you find, even if it's one tiny thing, something different every day. So if tomorrow you wake up and you're grateful for waking up, cool. So the second day, you're grateful for a good night's rest. Then the next day, you're grateful for your home, you're grateful for your car, you're grateful for your family, you're grateful for your strength. Whatever it is, I want you to jot down something different for each day. Keep it simple, don't overthink it. And then at the end of the week, I want you to reread to yourself all the 7 times, or all the 7 things or sentences, lines, whatever it is that you write, and notice how much good that you've lived through, right? The whole point of this is to see at the end of that week all of the things that you're grateful for, but then in culmination, once you see everything together, you're going to be like, "Oh dang, like I actually have a decent amount of things that I can be grateful for." And even though I'm going through X, Y, and Z, like this is big. Let's see. Okay, Octavia said maybe even say it before you touch your phone. Yeah, because sometimes we'll get distracted. Like we'll touch our phone and then we're like, oh, TikTok, or oh, I got a message, or oh, my alarm. So it is a good idea. Like I love writing things physically on paper. There's something about it where I get to physically touch the pen, physically touch the paper, and then be able to go back to it and read it and just have it, right? For as long as I want to keep it. But if you don't like necessarily writing, then go ahead and use your notes app, whatever you do. But just think about that before you like get distracted, right? Especially for our ADHDers, you know, me included, so no shade. So let's pretend that our list starts today. So I want you guys to share one thing that you would add to your gratitude list today. What's one thing that you would add to your gratitude list today? I'm going to add to my gratitude list today the wonderful massage that I got earlier today. I am so grateful for that. That was very nice. My feet feel great. Comment one thing that you're adding to your gratitude list today. Nika said, I'm grateful for my sister. She's such a strong rock for me. Aww, I love that. That's a big one. Thank you for sharing that, Nika. Maybe your sister can come to the Texas family to get together. Anybody else? One thing that you're adding to your gratitude list today. You'll drag her with you. Octavia said, I'm thankful for my trials and tribulations. They're literally leading me to the woman I'm supposed to be. I love that. I love that, twin. Not for real though, because honestly, sometimes I feel like the more trials, the more tribulations, the more obstacles, the more times that you kind of have to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, girl, It literally does like make you stronger. It literally does help you grow. It's pretty awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing. So again, I just want to remind you that sometimes our minds, naturally look for stress. They naturally look for things that are hard, right? Hey, Megan. Thank you so much, Megan. I appreciate it. Octavia said, girl, I do it too. Spirit is asking me to stop and rest. Yes. It really does make a difference. I'm trying to bask in the energy I'm in right now. Yep. Thank you so much, Megan. So again, sometimes your mind naturally looks for stress. It looks for those hard things. It focuses on the bad sometimes, but you can retrain it. You can like train it to recognize the strength and recognize things that you could be grateful for. Gratitude doesn't just change your mood. It doesn't make everything perfect, but it changes your perspective. And once it changes your perspective and it shifts, your whole life can start to open up. Your whole life can start to become a lot easier. And yes, your trials, your tribulations, your obstacles, your challenges, they're still going to be there, but you're going to feel stronger, you're going to feel better, you're going to feel more grateful for the things that are going to push you to keep going. So, with that being said, next week I'll be back on Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're going to be talking about the importance of celebrating our wins and our achievements. I think it's going to be a really good time. We've talked about reflection last week. We've talked about gratitude this week. So I think it'll be a really good thing to kind of talk about celebrating our wins and achievements, especially right before the holiday, when sometimes we're just so focused on busy, trying to get everyone together and things like that. But I don't want y'all to forget about yourselves and all that. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Thank you guys for sharing. Thank you guys for liking. I really appreciate your support and your love. Thank you, Megan. I appreciate that. So again, I'll be back next Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I truly appreciate everything that you guys did today with me. And I hope you take it with you and that you do that challenge. Okay? Y'all better do the challenge and tell me next week what you were able to write down and get together. So thank you guys again. Love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Rest of your weekend.